So the first thing we're going to start with is going to be a stack. And this one right here is a stack. It's a fairly simple data structure. And we're going to start, every time we add something, we're going to add to the top. So our first one would be, in this case, we're showing the example of browser history. So we're going to start with home, and then we'll stack one on top, order, stack one on top, checkout. And then when we go to remove it, we're going to go in reverse order. So we're going to pop this one off, that'll be remove checkout. We're going to pop off order, and then we'll pop off home. Let's get right into it. All right, over here in stack.js, let's start by creating our class for our stack item. Should all look pretty familiar. It's almost identical to the linked list I did last week. In that case, we're going to take in data, and we'll set this dot data equal to data, and this dot next is going to be null because it's not pointing to anything yet. That finishes up that class. Let's move on to our actual stack class. Again, identical to our linked list. Not to bring anything in here. Set head equal to null. So that's kind of our simplest form we're going to use here because we're not going to add anything until we get some methods put in. First one should be, just to stay with the convention, let's call it push. Push is going to take in data. And just in case if there's something already in the stack, we want to preserve it. So let's create a placeholder called previous head. At one point in time, this will be the head. If it is null, then head's going to be null, and that won't be an issue because we're going to see that right now. This dot head to new stack item. Got our data. Say this dot head dot next is equal to our previous head. So if, for instance, this is null, we're just going to set the next value to null and no harm, no foul. Let's try it out. So const stack equal to new stack. Then dot push. Just try home. All this order. We might not be able to see them all quite yet, but we will. I think my daughter just walked in, so that kind of distracted me. Let's run this and just see what we get right here. Alright, so we've got, as we go further down here, we've got checkout, order, and then this one would be home. So kind of just like we used earlier with that image, we stacked on top of each other. So now our head is the last one, checkout. Perfect. Alright, so just to get something so we can start kind of looking at this, let's get a view function made here. It's not going to take anything in. And just like our last ones, let's get a placeholder for our current item. Set that to this dot head. Then, while we have current item, so for eventually in our while loop, current item here is going to turn to null once we get to the end of the list. So that will kick us out of here, and let's just console.log out current item.data. Then let's increment current item. It's going to be current item dot next. And we can just take out this ugly console log and do a stack dot view. And open it up a touch and let's see what we get. Here we go. So check out order home. And as we stack them on top of each other, put in home first to the bottom. We're going to stack order on top of it. Then we're going to stack on checkout. In the next one, let's look at adding a pop method and removing this. All right, let's go up here and put a pop. At least a little bit of a spot that makes sense. Pop, let's grab the value that we're going to pop. We're going to say pop value equals this dot head dot data. And then this dot head is going to equal this dot head dot next. And let's return our pop value. So basically what we're doing here is let's just grab the value on top, give it somewhere to store it. And then we're going to take the head of this and we're going to set it to the value of the next. So essentially erasing the popped value. And in order to check it out, we should be able to do stack.pop. And in this case, the one on top is going to be checkout. So we should only be able to view home and order. There it is, home and order. All right, so the next one we're going to do in here is going to be reversing all of this. I've got a fun little graphic that I've been having a lot of fun doodling. So if we look at our graphic, we can see basically if we take our stack off one at a time and stack it onto a new stack, by the time we do that, we have reversed our stack. And this also applies to queues, it applies to linked lists. It's just a fun, simple way to reverse. And I think if I'm right, and someone may correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure we could argue that this is a big O notation of n. So whatever the length of our list is how long it's going to take to reverse it. Which for me, I'm plenty happy with that. So let's get into that. So the first thing we said we need is we need another place to stack these as we pull them off. So let's do const reverse list to stack. It's going to be a new stack. And then let's grab a placeholder for our current item equals this dot head. Well, we have our current item. So very similar to our view here. But rather than console logging it, we're going to do reverse stack dot push. And let's pass in current item dot data. And then let's increment. So let's do current item dot equal to current item dot next. Just to view this without having to do much, let's just do view it there, and for fun, let's just return the reverse stack as well. So in this case, if you wanted it, we could still return it. So let's just a space here. Do stack dot reverse. What we should see. Getting bad on the semicolons. Trying to make everything perfect for videos. Okay. You should see it go in an order, and then display a space, and then display it in reverse. There we are. Checkout, order, home order, checkout. And you can see what we did here is we just created a new stack. And as we traversed our current stack, so we started at the top, we put one in, which added it at the bottom. So when we're all finished, we had a reverse stack. All right. Let's look at our queue. And I guess I never really talked about how the stack is our last in, first out. So the last one in, first one out. Queue is going to be first in, first out. So I'm using a pizza oven machine to kind of explain this. So you put your pizzas in, pizzas come out. The first one we put in would have been this one. That's our last one in. And most importantly, we do not put pineapples on our pizza. That's just wrong. All right, let's get into some methods. All right, first things first, we need a stack, and we need a stack for our queue items. And just like we've previously done, we need a constructor. Format is going to drive me crazy. That's something better to work with. Okay, this dot data is equal to data. Stop next. Equal to null. Now we need a class for our queue. We're going to constructor. It's going to be empty. This dot head is going to equal null. And that has our class structure laid out. Just need to add some methods. All messed up on this one too. Let's fix that before we do much more. All right. Let's make our first one add item. Bring in data. Let's get a placeholder for our old head, because as we add into our stack, we're just going to move from the first one, and we're just going to shift it over. So let's say this dot head is equal to new stack item data. And then we'll do this dot head dot next. It's going to equal our old head. So essentially what that does is, if old head up here has the next value, it's going to be all downstream of this dot next, the old head, and then it's going to go downstream from there. All right, let's give this method a try. So let's make an instance of our queue. Avoid that error before it pops up. And let's call this first pizza. Now let's just do that. And why don't we just use my mouse here. We'll call this one second pizza. Console.log our queue. And let's try running it. Why? I can do it. Alright, there we go. Turns out IntelliSense isn't always the best thing. So we've got our first pizza, which originally was the head. right here. And then when we added our second pizza, we pushed it. So that means if we were to do this again, third pizza, that should become the head. There we go. All right, next thing we're going to do, we're going to add remove. We'll just call it remove. Let's take it nothing. And in this case, when we go to remove something, we need to remove it from the end of the queue. So we're going to have to traverse the entire queue before we can find it. And we're going to need a place for the previous item. Just initialize it. Then, well, we have current item.next. The reason we're going to use current item.next here is when current item.next is null, current item.data will not be null. So in the other use cases, we wanted to go until the whole current item was null. In this case, we want to go only where current item.next is null. And let's set our previous item to our current item. And let's set our current item to current item.next. So that kind of gives us this value is still good. And that's what we want there. And let's say const removed is equal to current item.data. This will be the one we're removing. Previous item.next is going to now be null. We can return removed. Just to make this a little easier, I'm going to make our view method here. We've already seen all this before, so I'm going to spare you the boring details of walking through it. Okay. That should have everything. Let's go down here and let's see how everything works. Let's get rid of it. Okay, so we do queue.remove. In this case, our first item in was first pizza, so that one should be removed if all this works. And we'll do queue.view. We should see everything except for first pizza. Try running it. So we have our second pizza, we have our third pizza. If we want to, we could, because we are returning a value here, we should be able to run this and see first pizza. There we go. We got first pizza. All right, we will walk through reversing this one more time, and it's going to be, actually, it's so identical. Should copy and paste it over, and let's change this to queue. Let's change this to first queue. All that should be hunky-dory. Let's remove our Google method. space, q.reverse. So we should have both queues here and reversed. Nope. I have a dot push. Missed one here. Should have been that. One more time. There we go. So we have third pizza, second pizza first, second, third, and everything looks good. And just to be extra safe, there's a small issue here I want to fix real quick. Looks a little better now. Let's run. Perfect. All our pizzas have no pineapple. The way a pizza was meant to be eaten. Hope you got something out of this. Thanks so much.